The best music around in stereo. Stereo sound.
Are you sitting comfortably? Good. Then we shall begin.
You're listening to iLive Radio, changing the way you listen to radio. iLive Radio.
Live from the iLive studios in Toronto, Soothe My Soul presents Mars Venus with your host, Patrick O. Morris. Join the conversation now on our Twitter feed at Patrick Morris or in the chat room at www.ilivewebradio.com. And now, here's the man who is helping us find our path between the sexes, Patrick O. Morris.
Welcome to the show, everyone, and I want to thank everybody for all the comments and the stories that they've shared over Twitter and Facebook and pretty much everywhere. It's been an interesting week leading up to this. Just all the different stories about online dating experiences that I got to say has been quite amusing and scary at some point.
Yep.
I'm joined today with Keisha. She is the founder for Let Me Show You My City.
Yes.
It's an online dating site of sorts. I'm going to get Keisha
yes.
to sort of explain that. But I just want to welcome everybody. If you've got a comment, if you've got any stories that you want to share with us about your online dating experience, you can definitely do so on our either on Twitter or on in the chat room while you're listening to this. Keisha, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So you were on the show a little while ago, and you were talking. when we were talking about women working in a predominantly male-oriented environment,
yes. Right?
And through that, we kind of learned that you were also involved in this online dating site, sort of.
Of sorts, yes.
So maybe you can let us know a little bit about what exactly is Let Me Show You My City.
Okay. Well, I could tell you why it was created, at least from my standpoint, was a lot of people travel for business, and they're in a particular city for a certain amount of time, and they want to be able to explore that city, obviously, with locals. They could attempt to, go to tourists, get a tour guide or things like that, but majority of them would like to enjoy that city with someone who lives in that city, and hopefully create a relationship prior to that, so that it's kind of like a seamless meeting. So that's the purpose of Let Me Show You My City, is that people ahead of time, when they create an itinerary to say that, okay, this is where I'm going to be coming to your city, who would like to show me around, kind of thing, and that's the basis of it.
So it's like if I'm going to New York and I want to some Chinese food in New York, and I need to figure out where I need to go and find that, I can go on there and find somebody that's going to be able to show me around.
Exactly.
Now, is this just on a how deep do you go on your site? Is this like people, if I'm looking to stay with somebody, is it in place of a hotel room, or is this
right.
just how does this work?
I guess it depends on the user, but it's just to at least make the initial connection. Because even after they connect, they could also obviously take it offline, in terms of exchanging phone numbers or whichever, but to make the initial, just open your horizons a bit to say, okay, I'm coming to New York. Let me see all the people who are ambassadors, which is what we call them, ambassadors for New York that would be available or interested to show somebody an outer towner around.
So if I sign up on the site, then
Yes.
I would be considered an ambassador for whatever city that I'm representing.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
And what's the qualification for these folks to be an ambassador? Is there a qualification?
None, except that they live in the city that they live in their current city and that they're available.
Okay.
Right, yeah.
Now, this is a huge topic, and clearly online dating is something that is becoming more and more mainstream.
Yes, definitely.
There are more and more people who are meeting people online,
Yes.
whether it's across country or in other countries or within the same city, that sort of thing. Based on some of the conversations that we've had this week,
Right.
on Facebook and
Yeah.
Twitter and all that, there's been some scary things that people have said.
Yes. I still maintain, both, I've had my own experiences. I mean,
No, do
and-
tell.
Oh, God, Patrick. Ugh. Um, there was one day that I went on, and this is another thing. I think you should always have a telephone conversation before you meet someone.
Okay.
I'd say that's one rule. So I learned that.
So at
But
least hear their voice, and you can tell
Hear
whether
their
or not
voice, yeah.
they sound like, nails down a chalkboard.
Right.
Okay.
Yes. So I met this person just for a coffee, and during that time, he managed to recite violent poetry to me throughout. the whole
Violent
thing.
poetry.
Yeah.
Did he write this poetry, or is this like?
Well, I'm assuming that he wrote it, but he just thought it was time that I need to know exactly where he's coming from, and da 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 da. And then he swore like a lot, like not at me, but through this poetry. And and he ate with his hands too. He was like having some.
But
Like it was
some
a salad.
some cultures that's
A salad though, salad.
But I don't know. There might be a culture out
Nope,
there. That,
nope.
No?
I don't think so.
Okay.
No.
All right.
But yeah, that was my experience with it, and it just like it was weird.
So the fact that
Yeah.
he ate with his hands,
Uh-huh.
that's what really got to you?
It wasn't the hands thing was funny, but it was more about the violent poetry.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Like sometimes I think I swear like a sailor myself, but he took it to a whole other level.
Now, when
Yeah.
when he was doing that,
Yeah.
the violent poetry,
Right.
did you, what did you think of that? Like, how did you equate that? Did you look at yourself and say, is this how this guy thinks? Is this how he's going to treat me? Like,
No, I just thought it was funny because I was like, first of all, his poetry sucked, right? So that's
Oh.
one. And then it did.
okay.
did.
If he's listening right now.
Sorry. Yeah,
Mm.
your poetry was
Okay.
horrible. But yeah, no, I was more laughing. I just laughed because it's my life, right? So I just kind of stared blankly at him, thinking, this is really happening.
Now, was that
Yeah.
the only time that you?
Patrick, why is this? Come
I'm
on,
just
man.
you started the site, and for a way for people to
Ugh.
connect, and I'm trying to,
Yes, another question.
Or is this a way that when you started this site, it was to sort of help you along your process?
Oh,
I
not
don't
to-
know. Are you
well-
a good ambassador?
Yes,
Okay.
I think I would be a good ambassador. Yes, and I am an ambassador on the site as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, it's
For those guys who are listening, her
That's
name is
so
Keisha.
funny.
What's
Here we
what's
go.
your name on the site?
it's McClegan. It's
McClegan?
yeah. You'll see the full name there.
Okay, so somebody from Japan or somewhere
Right,
wants to-
right. I mean,
they can find you.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it's a great way to meet people from, not only different countries, but different cultures too,
Mhm.
right? So, I mean, that's the way you kind of expand not only who you know, but even as a person when you're meeting different people from, again, different walks of life kind of thing.
Now, I want to go a little deep into this, but
Sure.
before we do, I just want to, we were talking before, and you said that there was some numbers on the amount of people who are
Right.
actually using online dating now.
Yes. The last I checked, I think it was one in 5 relationships are started online.
Wow.
And a third of marriages started online.
Wow.
Yes.
That's.
I think it's huge.
That's huge. That's
Yeah.
quite significant.
Yeah, exactly.
If 1 in 3 marriages are being started online,
right.
and based on a lot of the experiences we've come across this week, it hasn't sound all that wonderful. Like, how do you so I sign up on whether it's your site or the many
Yes,
other
sites,
sites that
yeah.
are out there. How do I create a profile that, I don't know, might be able to help me to weed out some of the, let's just say, emotionally unstable individuals?
Right. I think you first of all have to be very honest with what you want.
Mhm.
First of all, pictures, because we're all human. We all look at pictures. Put
So
your
like
best
me in a
pictures.
tank top and
Well, I mean,
shorts or something.
If you are, it's so unfair because you make a lot of assumptions based on pictures, but that's what you have, right?
Mhm.
I know personally, if I see someone who's always topless in all their pics, I'm thinking, well, if this person has a healthy ego, maybe they don't have enough room to fit someone else in there, kind of
Ooh.
thing, right? But that's my assumption, right? That
okay.
because that person could just be a very health savvy person, and this is the work I do in the gym. But I mean, if you're always doing that, it can limit you. So I think
or if all your pictures you're flexing
all flexing.
those arms.
Careful, all right? You're throwing one at me. Okay, that's okay. I'm wearing a tank. It's hot. I think with pictures, you want to try and project what you're trying to attract. So yes, if you're trying to attract someone else that's more healthy or more fit or whatever, it's okay putting your pictures because you might attract that too. Doing things that you like to do, showing your pictures as well, and also in your profile kind of description. Also speaking about hobbies, things you like to do, without giving too much because you don't want to take away an opportunity to have a conversation. But yeah, I firmly believe that you should be as honest as possible and trying to not just show your best self, but at the same time show your real self. Right.
So, and that's a bit of a challenge because through cyberspace, trying to show your real self in this, I don't know, two-dimensional environment, it can be a bit of a challenge. So maybe can you walk me through? So if I decided, okay, I want to be an ambassador,
Right. Okay.
for on your site, and I want to sign up for this,
Right.
what would my profile look like? What would be the process for me to be able to do that? Is your site a paid site? Is it free?
No, it's
Is it
free.
like, how does that
free.
work?
Yeah, it's a free site. You'd sign up almost similar to other kind of dating sites where you put in, I think, up to 5 photos, and obviously put your hometown and things that just a description of who you are, who you'd like to do, what would you like to do as an ambassador as well? What are your favorite things? We have, as soon as you sign up, we have a newsletter that goes out that kind of gives you kind of details of what is the best things you could put as an ambassador to make it very attractive to connect with you. So definitely, if I'm a Toronto ambassador, I like to go down in Kensington Market. I like to, go to CN Tower, certain things. These are my favorite restaurants down on, King Street, things like that. We would advise an ambassador to put down because it shows that you're knowledgeable about your city and you're willing to share it.
So for somebody who may not know the city of Toronto,
Right.
or if I was looking to go to Hong Kong and I guess meet somebody in Hong Kong, and I
Right.
don't really know very much about the different areas.
Right.
What are some of the key things that somebody could actually put there that might pique my interest?
What do you mean if you're trying to?
So if I'm going there and
Right.
for somebody to, I guess, capture me in a
Okay,
way,
okay.
capture my attention. Like, so if somebody may not know anything about, say, the fashion district in
Right,
Toronto,
right.
and then you put that, as someplace you like to hang out,
Right.
what are some of the, I don't know, buzzwords or something like that people could actually use that would help?
I don't think it's. I don't know if there's an actual like specific words. It's more your profile in its entirety will kind of attract or not attract someone. So yeah, just putting a list of the things that you like to do, whether it's financial. A fashion district or anything like that, because again, you're one out of many ambassadors. So I mean, there's other ambassadors that might like another part of the city better too,
Okay.
right?
We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I want I guess you to sort of school me a little bit on, so if I was going to be creating a profile, then, what are some of the things that I should be saying in order to, I guess, in a way, protect myself,
Right.
as well as display what it is that I would want a prospective person,
Right.
for me to be able to catch their attention.
Right.
So what should I be saying and what shouldn't I be saying? How much is too much? Because I think a
Right.
lot of times that's where a lot of people are a little bit, they struggle a bit, is I don't know what to put here.
Right.
They're asking for all the, and I would assume that a lot of these sites, they may ask for really detailed information.
Yes, yes.
About occupation or I don't know if they ask about income,
Right.
or things like that. But
Right.
when we come back, I just want us to talk a little bit about that. So help somebody if they want to put together a profile. So we're gonna take a quick break.
Okay.
The best internet radio station around. iLife Radio, the new social network.
Welcome back, and I'm here with Keisha from Let Me Show You My City, and we're talking about online dating. And so we're going to talk a little bit about some of the do's and don'ts, like
Right.
what makes an effective profile,
Right.
and then how do I, like, what are some of the things that I can do to help me to figure out whether or not I actually want to meet this person face to face. And if I am going to meet this person face to face, where should I really do that?
Right.
You know, if I get on and girl looks cute, it's a nice profile, she sounds nice, and then, you know, I get an invitation for dinner, how do I know I'm not going to get she's not an axe murderer or something?
That too. It'd be positive if they are not criminals. Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah, and that's another
yeah.
thing too. Like,
Yeah.
how do they might be criminals.
Right.
We don't know.
Right. But I think we have to remember, too, you have the same likelihood of making a decision to meet someone in a bar that could have, you know, a really weird past, too, right? Or could be kind of crazy, too. Because nobody really shows, well, most people don't show their initial crazy when they first meet you anyway, right? So, yeah, I understand that's always the thing to say, how do I know this person who I'm meeting is not going to, you know, approach me with a cleaver when I meet them or, you know, kind of thing. But it's...
Okay, so let's start with,
Yeah.
okay, I got, I'm here on, let me show you my city, and I'm going to create a profile.
Right.
And I want to meet a woman who's smart, who's funny, who has a great sense of humor,
Right.
who's lighthearted, and can intellectually stimulate me.
Right.
You know, who I can have good conversations with.
Right.
Okay, so how do I do this?
Well, first of all, in your profile description, I would put everything what you just said in terms of what you're looking for.
Okay.
Because I think it's brief enough, but still detailed enough to kind of show what you're what you'd want, right? So you're hoping that anybody outside of that would not respond to you. No guarantee, but I mean, you want to put that down. But then I would also take some time to introduce yourself, not too much, because I think I'm just looking at a standpoint. If I see like 3-4 paragraphs of somebody, there's nothing for us to have a conversation about because I know about you. There's no mystery. And I don't know, I think it gives a different vibe when somebody would rather put in, 3 paragraphs of something rather than, try to connect with you so they could further kind of show how
So should
they
it be
are.
like bullet points that I should be putting?
I don't know. I don't think there's an actual format. I think you just want to get a good vibe. Like the person who's reading it, you want them to get a good vibe from you or get a good, like initial glance, a positive first impression from you.
So what would some of those things, what should I be saying? I'm a great kisser, or,
No,
like what should I be saying?
I'm not sure. The people have put that.
Okay.
Oh yeah. And told about their other attributes as well.
Okay,
Yes.
all right. That poor girl on that had posted her story on Facebook. Maybe
Yes.
if that guy had expressed his
his need
his
to
need
to flip out his appendage when he goes
in
on
public.
dates. Yes, she probably would have thought twice. Yes, exactly. But unfortunately, those types obviously won't put that information in their profile initially. That's to surprise you. But it's part of your profile. Again, it's just a vibe. I don't think there's like a format in terms of bullet points or whatever. I would definitely, say this is how old I am, just in case it's not evident in your profile.
So it's good to put your age.
Definitely,
Okay.
because I know a lot of people will lie about it, but why start something off with a lie if you're genuinely looking for a genuine connection? Some people are not. Some people are just looking for hookups, and it's a physical thing, which is, people use that for online for that too. But if you're actually looking for something genuine, you want to be truthful. So definitely your age, what you're looking for, which exactly what you said, which I thought was perfect, and also things that you enjoy. Not just to do, but like what excites you. Like if you're really a career-oriented person, to say, I love my job. This is what you don't have to say specifically what you do, but you say, what you like about it. What are your hobbies? I also do music on the side. I do this. Just really brief, and then just going into what you're looking for. And I would leave it at that, in the sense that you're giving someone more questions to ask you, more opportunity to have conversation with you, as opposed to just laying everything out.
So if I had a criminal record or something like that, is that
Right.
something that I should be putting on there? I don't have a criminal record, by the way.
By the way, FYI, I know.
And if you do have one,
I'm just
sure
moving my
there are
chair
lots of
over.
nice people
but-
who have
Yeah.
criminal records.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Who've learned from their mistakes.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like,
But yeah, is that something? How much is too much?
I would think. We're just using criminal record as an example.
Okay.
Because there's other things people might not want to tell people. I don't think that's pertinent to your profile. Not that you're trying to hide it, but I don't think that's going to affect whether or not you connect with somebody. If you feel that later on that this is something that you want to tell them because you think it's relevant, because everybody, from the positive standpoint, assuming that you're not still continuing that criminal activity, everybody does mistakes or whichever. But I don't think that's a requirement for something like that to put in your profile. I would put in your profile I think you should always tell that if you have kids.
Okay.
I do think that's important. I
Now,
know I'm going to get shot
You know,
for that
I
one.
hear all the time that sometimes guys or women, they'll post photos with them and their kids.
No.
Is that
You
a no?
shouldn't, no, you shouldn't post photos with you and your kids just because, I mean, you never know who's looking at them. I mean, just from a predator standpoint. And also, I think right there you're really opening up to other people. I think nobody in your pics, there should be no other person in your pics except you. So whether it's your children or even friends, like it's great when you see a profile picture and it's like 50 people. And you're like, it's for one person. You're like, which one? Hopefully it's the best looking one in this group.
I could be
You know what I mean?
hiding in the midst of those photos because I'm a little embarrassed or something.
No. Well,
No?
then I mean, yeah, I don't think you should.
Okay.
You know?
Okay,
Yeah.
so it should be your profile should be somewhat brief.
Yes.
And it should be created in such a way that it's going to generate more questions, more
Right,
interest
right,
from what you're
right,
saying.
yeah.
Your photos should just be of you.
Just be you, and they should be good photos. I mean, some of them, people will take it from below and you can see up their nose. You gotta advertise yourself. Do you know what I mean? So be good. It doesn't have to be model pictures because I think those are misleading too. Because you're thinking how many pounds of, makeup did you put on? Who's gonna appear at the actual date, kind of thing. But at the same time, it should be photos that you're proud of. It shouldn't be your worst photos waking up at a bed kind of thing. Yeah.
I guess the 1 in 3 is a big number.
Yes, of marriages. Yeah.
Of marriages, yeah,
Right.
that's a big number. 1 in 5 people meeting online is also a big number.
Yes.
But I think there's probably still a lot of people who feel a little embarrassed, maybe,
Yep.
about going online to try to meet somebody.
Yep.
What would you say to people who are feeling a little bit like
That
maybe if I'm doing this, I'm being a little desperate, or
Right.
people might see that my friends might run into me on there, even though if their friends are on there too,
That
that's the
means
only
they're
way
on
they're
there
gonna see it
too. Yeah,
But,
exactly.
there's a certain amount of people who might be like, oh my God, I can't do this. This is kind of
Right.
scary. I'm just like,
I totally get it. And I think if you don't have that reservation to begin with, I mean, you're probably not the most private. Most people are private people. They don't want to expose themselves to all these unknown eyes, which I totally get. But it's a good method to reach other people that you would not have normally reached, especially if you're very serious about, not necessarily finding the love of your life, but connecting with other people. It's immediately you go from expanding your horizons from in the room, in a bar with, 50 other people, to now anyone, everywhere, kind of thing. So you're already increasing your number, you're already increasing your odds by being involved with it. But it's definitely a naked feeling, I'm sure, for lack of a better term, to actually expose yourself. But it just depends on what your commitment is in terms of, finding that interaction.
okay, so created my profile.
Right.
It's got a nice picture of me,
Okay.
or 5 pictures of me.
5 pictures, that's a good number.
And it's brief, it's somewhat concise, and it's opening questions. Now, is there typically a certain amount of time that I should really be talking to that person online before we actually meet, or the phone call, or
Right.
how do you transition from one to the next? 'Cause
Right.
online, everybody's hiding, right? It's really easy. I don't even know if the picture I'm looking at is even really you,
Yeah.
if it was from 20 years ago,
Yeah.
or if it was from last week.
Yeah.
I don't know any of that sort of stuff. So how do you make that transition to the next level?
And that's always a gray area to think, when is the time that now I should be asking for your phone number? When's the time we actually meeting? It's that whole gray area. But I think especially online, you should be moving quickly at a pace that you could actually now see that person, because there's no point going through a month or so talking to this person, creating a relationship with them, when when at another time when you meet them and they're not who you think they are, right? So I would say if you're talking to someone online almost every day, I'd say within a week you should definitely move to the next step of hopefully exchanging numbers, and then hopefully after that getting together.
So within it that'd be a week of you guys talking every day?
Right.
Yeah.
And I even think a week probably isn't too long, but I mean, you get the vibe based on who you're talking to. But I really suggest that you don't spend so much time where it becomes exclusively online, because there's some people out there that would just are content with talking online and leaving it at that, and they have no, they really are not interested in meeting people just to have, spend the day online while at work or something. So you want to be able to weed those people out who are just, unless that's what you're there for as well.
Yeah.
But I really believe that you have to kind of move on to those next steps quickly, just to make sure that, you are talking to the person you think you are. Doesn't mean you're going to connect afterwards, but at least,
you're not wasting your time.
You're not wasting your
with
time.
Somebody who doesn't really want what you want.
Exactly.
With looking at, okay, so now, I'm going to meet this person.
Right.
I feel we're talking every day.
Right.
And we're decided, okay, I'm going to meet this person. What would you suggest would be the ideal way of doing that? What should that meeting look like? Because I don't know what I'm walking into.
Right.
Again, I don't know if the photo I'm looking at is really
the person,
is
exactly.
the person, or
Yeah.
I don't know if they're going to stab me or
Right.
something.
And they could be feeling the exact same way about you, like it's both directions,
They
right?
never feel that about me.
Well, not you, Patrick, because you're amazing, right? But-
Exactly.
oh boy. I think, first of all, a very public place.
Okay.
None of this, let's just meet over at my house. I mean, we got to use common sense, definitely. So I would suggest, I know it seems very cliche, but coffee is always easy, because it's a nice, quick enough meeting that you both are not committing to like an hour long of eating dinner together or going to movies. I would never meet someone first and automatically go into like first date mode. It would always
Okay.
be kind of a connect to say, okay, how are you doing? Make sure we both look like we say we look like, and then make an arrangement for another day.
Okay.
That's my suggestion. I know some people would say automatically, let's go to movies or let's do this, and that's fine. But I just think it's safer to kind of have like an introduction to each other, and at least confirm, especially online, confirm that you both kind of appear as though you meant to appear. One scenario that I've had is the person that I was meeting ended up to be way shorter than they said in their profile. So I felt like I was babysitting when I first
What's
met
with
them.
women and short men?
Nothing.
What's the
Absolutely
problem?
nothing. It's the lie that comes with. That's it.
Okay.
Yes.
So if he
yes.
had said he was 4'9", you would have been okay.
4'9", no, I would not have been okay. No, I'm sorry. I'm 5'8". I'm
So?
5'8". If he said that he was like 5'6", maybe.
Maybe.
Yes.
Get him some platforms.
Pardon me. I wear high-heeled shoes, Patrick. Okay, moving on.
I think that's a topic for another
Yeah,
show,
like, come
Let's
on.
talk about, because I hear this all the time with women. They want a guy who's at least 6 feet tall, when in all reality, the
Yeah.
average height of a man
Right.
in North America
Yeah.
is not 6 feet.
I actually saw a meme the other day, which I had to laugh, and it said, is he really good looking, or is he just tall? And I died, because I said, oh my goodness, this is like me and my friends. We got to check ourselves with this. I'm like, is he really cute, or is he just tall? Is he just tall? Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyways, another episode.
Another
Moving on.
episode,
Yeah.
another conversation.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna take another quick break, and so when we come back, I want us to talk a little bit more about why is it that so many people are moving to online, and why is it becoming so more mainstream than what it was before. And there is still some, from what I hear, anyways, from talking to different people, and even just bringing this topic up. Some people shared some stories, and they're like, "Oh, I don't want you to tell anybody." I'm like, "Well, why are you telling? I asked you to tell stories so that we could share them.
Right.
If you don't want me to use your name, okay, I get that.
Right.
But you tell me, and you don't want me to tell anyone. And they're like, "No, I don't want to. It's so embarrassing," and they
Right.
feel embarrassing even though they didn't do anything. Is
Right.
the person that they met who. Maybe I might share something.
Yeah.
I don't know. But when we come back,
Okay.
I just want us to talk a little bit about why is it such a big a movement, I guess you could say, in a way.
Right. Okay.
The internet's #1 on the World Wide Web. iLive Radio.
Welcome back. And talking with Keisha here from Let Me Show You My City. And so, yeah, before the break, I was saying I want us to talk a little bit about why is it that online dating is becoming such a mainstream thing? Why is it that so many people are actually gravitating towards this? Is it because people are lazy because they just don't want to go out and meet people? Or stuff?
I was going to say partially. I wouldn't use the word lazy, but I think it's that whole immediate gratification, immediate response society that we're drive to. So, I mean, rather than me make the effort to go to a big venue or whichever, I could just go online and kind of weed out and kind of make selection on that whole catalog thing, flip through kind of thing. Which is, it sounds so, it doesn't sound very nice, but I mean,
no, it seems very, very cold.
Very cold, but I mean,
it's not very personal. It's,
right.
Like,
we spend a lot of time online. I mean, I think if we as a society did not spend as much time online, then online dating wouldn't be as big as it is. But I mean, we're using many of our social networks to even just talk to each other. For case in point, I have a friend of mine. We always talk through Facebook, and we do like text and stuff, but through Facebook status. And we laugh because when we actually come together, we're sort of saying, "I don't know what to say to you right now." We make a joke. We're like, "Hold on a second." I start typing on the counter. I'm like, "Hey, how you doing?" She's like, "I'm fine." We're standing right beside each other, and we'll do that
and
as a joke.
texting
Oh yeah,
each other
we're like, "Hey,
okay.
how you doing?" We make a joke because we're like, But yeah, so it's just, I think it's just the way we are as a society in terms of just being online. So obviously online dating would come with it. I think also, I believe a lot of us are getting more sensitive nowadays too. So they're trying to get rid of the rejection point or at least lessen that down. So I mean, it's a lot easier to reach out to that person that you normally wouldn't have necessarily the guts to reach out to face to face, if you could at least talk with them online and try to create that rapport that kind of gives you the confidence to when you actually meet them. So I think a lot of us like to decrease that factor, the rejection factor, even though you still can, but online allows it to be a little bit easier to transition into. And then also I just think we because of internet too, everything needs to be brought in, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we're not just, okay, I'm constrained to just my hometown or constrained to my workplace. No, I could reach out to many other people that are outside of my my framework, right? Because we want that now because the availability is there.
what was it that made you decide to create the site?
Right. It was based on, I think it first came into my mind after TIFF. Because a lot of people were obviously down here for that event, and a lot of them were asking, for, just people to connect with. They want to be able to hang with other people besides the people they're working with.
Yeah.
And it's hard, especially when you're coming down here to do a job, to connect with somebody quickly so that you could actually do something in between the times that you're not working. So that's kind of the idea that came with that for through the whole TIFF and the opportunity. What if they hadn't a way to communicate and connect with someone prior to that, so that when they came in the area, they say, okay, I'm in the area. This is the times I have free. Let's connect here. So.
Let me show you my city. So if I sign on to your site, would I have the ability to connect with somebody here in Toronto? Or would I have to look outside of my city?
At this time, because we really want to create that niche of being able to connect with outside, it's just based on outside. So it's not, because there's many sites for you to do that right now, that you could connect with people in your area kind of thing. It's specifically if you want to have an international, like Bridget International Gap. That's what this is specifically for.
Okay.
Yeah.
A lot of people say that with online dating, you put yourself at risk.
Agreed. You didn't. I don't think at risk, but you put yourself out there. Definitely. It is a vulnerable thing to do. But I mean, it's like, how serious are you? This is just one method. I mean, you can still need to get out your house. I mean, it shouldn't be, let me just sit on my couch all day and just online date. That's how I'm going to reach people. I think it should be one of the methods you're using to connect with people.
Is it, again, there's a certain, I think there's still, even though it's 1 in 5, people meet through online dating, and then 1 in 3, from what you're saying, people get married.
Right.
There's still a certain sense of certain amount of negativity towards online people who go online and meet people online. I remember talking to a woman, and she met her husband online on one of the sites that apparently there's a lot of crazies, from what I've heard.
I know which site you're talking about.
But this is where she met her husband,
Right.
And I was surprised. This is maybe a couple of years ago.
Right.
I was surprised and a little bit taken back, and at the time I thought, well, you know, that could be maybe that's kind of scary, isn't it? But for somebody who's sort of thinking, you know, I need to meet more people, you know, what would you say to them to sort of get over that hurdle?
It's hard to say because I totally understand their hesitation. It makes complete sense because at least you're in control of who has access to you. When you get yourself into an online dating situation, you can't really control that. Yes, they'll have some settings, I'm sure, like demographics wise, in terms of only this age group or this area, or these are the only people I'd like to have access to my profile. But there is a thing of vulnerability. You just have to just kind of get over it and just put yourself out there. It's just as simple as that. There's and that's the reason too that you would protect yourself in terms of privacy. I mean, I wouldn't put too much information directly in my profile until you feel comfortable going to a next level with somebody you're communicating with. But it's mainstream now. So I mean, it's not as it shouldn't have that much of a negative connotation as it did beforehand, to think, oh, it's only desperate people or this kind of people, because a lot of people are on that now. Like people that you work with are on that. Your whole office could be on it. It's just one of those things.
Is there a risk for, if I create my profile on some online dating site, and I'm going to get a job and they're doing some kind of background check on me, and is there a risk of any kind for any of that profile to all of a sudden show up with my employer?
That's a good question. I believe majority of dating sites wouldn't have your. Well, it depends. It's because there's a lot of privacy issues, whether or not they show up into general Google listings or not.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure, but from the last I heard too, employers could check your Facebook profile as well.
Yeah, and that's the thing too.
Right.
If I'm applying for a job and it's got me passed out, with people pouring things on my head or something,
That's
drawing
probably not the
funny
picture that
pictures,
you want to see. Yeah, exactly.
that somebody's tagged me in.
Right.
That being on Facebook, I know that is searchable.
Right.
Stuff like that is searchable, but I think, there might be some concern.
Right.
That, their quote unquote dating profile might be something.
Yeah, well, see, I guess it depends on the company, right? 'Cause I wouldn't think that them seeing a potential employee's profile on a dating site would be enough for them not to want to hire them. I don't know. Like, I guess it really just depends on the employer. But yeah, when you're online, you're vulnerable. So I mean, that could be pulled across same as Facebook. Twitter, all those things are available. I mean, we're always hearing about celebs getting caught into problems because of things they put in their Twitter account and things like that. And even once you delete it, it's still available somewhere. Someone's already Snapchatted it somewhere, right? But yeah, it's I guess like with all things, you just have to be careful what you put on. You'll put on things that if somebody was to read over your shoulder, you wouldn't be embarrassed or taken back. I guess that's the kind of thing you could think of.
When I was, looking into this, some of the websites or the dating sites, some of their disclaimers is that they would use your profile for advertising purposes or something like that.
Right.
Is that something that you do with your site?
No.
And why is that? Why?
I just don't think it's necessary. I mean, and when they usually say that that they could use it, it's because they're putting an ad somewhere to say, okay, let's just say Cupid.com, and they'll just take some random pictures to show, these are the kind of people that you could possibly meet if you come to our site, right? Yep. It's just a way of advertising. I don't think we're at that level yet that we have to use other people's profile pics to advertise. I think we're just going to stick to the ideal of it. Hopefully.
I think that if you did meet somebody,
right,
or you had a profile, and then you've closed off your profile, and then all of a sudden, you know, somebody's friend says, "Hey, I saw Keisha's photo on this dating site."
Yeah.
You know, there might be some concern.
Well, that too.
in
I
and
mean,
around that.
well, there's some people that will say, you know, make sure that you don't, on Facebook, for example, make sure you don't add this person because even though they have my picture, it's not me. You know what I mean? Some people will just grab pictures and create profiles on it too, right? So everything's accessible.
The again, there's a lot of fear
Yes.
in and around this,
Right.
and
You
so
have, you have to be smart. That's the thing. Smart, and you realize that you keep your safety obviously always in the forefront when you're meeting other people. Just like if you were to meet someone outside of online dating, I would, you know, you'd still have a certain, you know, caution in terms of where you're going to meet, things like that. So I understand the fear. But I mean, for you to take it completely out of the equation, online dating, you're really limiting yourself to who you could meet, I think.
okay, so created my profile, and went on my date with this person,
Right.
Tim Hortons. Is that a good
Sorry,
place?
yes, okay,
Is that a
yeah.
good place?
Sure.
I don't know. What's good? Starbucks? Like,
Sure,
what's a good place to do that initial meeting?
I think the initial-
Because
it's just coffee.
again, I don't want to
Yeah.
be stabbed by somebody.
You're so funny.
You know,
Definitely
so-
public. Yeah, public. You know, stabbed at Tim Hortons. Yeah, that
Exactly.
would be fun.
You know,
yeah.
you don't know.
Yeah.
So anywhere that's kind of public
Yes, I would definitely.
is good for that first initial meeting.
Right.
What should the expectation be? Should it be that, you know, we're meeting for a couple of hours, or it just, you know, quick touch point? You look like
Yeah.
your photo.
Yeah,
All right,
yeah.
I'm out of here. We'll connect again. Like,
Yeah.
look, what should that be?
Well, you never know. I mean, I think the expectations that you meet for coffee, for example, and just go, you know, like half an hour talking, getting to know each other. Because I mean, it's still quote unquote a date. I just think you're not committing to like a long period of time potentially with someone that you might not connect with if you're doing like a dinner or movie. So at least with a coffee, it could be very brief if you choose it to be, or very long if there's a connection, right? I mean, you could sit there and have a goal of just having coffee and end up being there for hours, depending if you connect with somebody. But yeah, I still suggest the first meeting should be scheduled to be brief, just so you could see that you guys look how you look.
Okay, so there's a lot of conversation about how, you know, you look,
Right.
right?
Right.
So you create your site, and it's got a photo how you look.
Right.
And then you're putting these brief thoughts on there as to what it is you're kind of looking for, as to who you are.
Right.
And again, it's painting a certain picture.
Yes, definitely.
So now I'm meeting this person, and I've got this image in my mind based on, you know, the picture and the things that are posted there. I guess I think maybe a lot of people might be asking the question, like, how do I know that, you know, what they're actually saying, what they've put on their profile, is actually an accurate representation of, you know, who the person is now I'm going to meet at Tim Hortons and hope I don't get stabbed.
Right.
You know, before you answer that, we're going to take another quick break, and then, because again, I don't want to get stabbed, right?
Right.
That's the
You
thing.
seem to be on the stabbing theme.
I hear.
What did you
that
watch last night, Patrick?
People can be crazy.
Okay.
You know, and you don't know. You're
Okay.
walking into things you don't know. I don't want to get. I don't know about you.
You don't want to get
But
stabbed.
I wouldn't
That's
want to
the
meet
theme.
somebody online and
Okay.
then get stabbed.
Okay.
I'm just my thing.
Okay.
It would hurt
Okay.
a little
That's what
bit.
stabbing does. Yeah.
Exactly. When we come back, we're going to talk about that.
Okay.
The best music around in stereo. Stereo sound.
Welcome back, everybody. And we're continuing the conversation with Keisha for Let Me Show You My City. And before we took a break, I was expressing that I did not want to get stabbed. Exactly.
That.
So, you know, how do I protect myself from this?
Well, you put your hands up like. No, I'm just
Oh.
kidding. No. There's no guarantee who you're gonna meet.
You see, if
There's-
I meet a girl at a bar
Right.
or a church
Right.
or, you know, in a restaurant,
Right.
you know, I'm having a little bit of time to kind of interact with them,
Right.
right? And I could hopefully at that point in time kind of gauge, you know, if she's might want to stab me or not.
Right.
But
But she could stab you the second time she meets you, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She could. It's possible.
Right. Right.
But I think a lot of people might be looking at it and thinking from that perspective. Hey, at least if I meet somebody in one of these social settings, then it might be easier to be able to create that type of connection. It might be easier to sort of feel them out in a way.
Right.
And now, I've been talking to this person online for the last week.
Right.
And now it's time to meet that person. There might be a certain amount of anxiety.
Of course. On both sides. Yeah.
That might be on both sides.
Right.
In and around this.
Right. Yeah. There's no foolproof. There's no answer. You know what I mean? Like, you still just have to be faithful that hopefully the person that you've been talking to and connecting with, obviously, because that person you're connected with, you're connecting with, that's the reason why you're going to meet them in the first place, does not stab you. And, is a person that you want to probably pursue further interactions with. Unfortunately, there's no foolproof way to figure out if someone's going to be crazy or not when you see them. So, but it's not about who you attract necessarily, it's who you entertain. So if that person ends up being, nuts, you can get up and leave, or decide that, I need to call the police because you're trying to stab me. I'm just continuing your stabbing theme. You seem to be on that, so.
Is there a, sort of, I don't know, a psychological evaluation or something that is done that would be able to that I could kind of view to say,
right,
beforehand?
I think once you get, if you're going a little bit further, and you do like matchmaking in terms of somebody physically, like a person that's physically trying to pair up people, I'm sure that they incorporate some kind of, evaluation to make sure that these two people connect, not just on hobbies, but, that they're not crazy. But that's when you have an actual other human component in between those two people. But when you're dealing with online, I mean, there's no...
You're on your own.
You're on your own. Just like with any other social site.
Okay. So, kind of go through where we are right now.
Right.
Logged onto your site, created my profile. It's got a great picture of me. I'm looking wonderful.
You're looking wonderful.
No kids. Nobody else, just me. And my brief description about who I am, what I'm about, what I'm looking for.
Right.
And now, so I get a message from somebody who's coming in from, I don't know, England.
Right. Okay.
So now what? Is that the end of your site, or do you
no.
Do you get involved?
Well, okay. So if they connect with you, they say that they're coming from England, and you guys decide that you want to connect. So that's one step. But also there's events that are being pushed through this site as well, based on. So if I'm logging in as I guess a traveler.
Mm-hmm.
I will be able to see as part of, okay, I'm going to this place, it will show me all the events that are going to be happening in that place as well.
Nice.
So that's another
Okay.
conversation piece too, right? To say, okay, well, there's all these events that are happening, and also these ambassadors. So, I mean, I could connect with and say, who wants to go to this event with me, or whichever, assuming that person's coming alone, right?
Okay. So if I go to the event with the ambassador and I find out that she might want to stab me,
We're
then
back to the stabbing. We're back to
I
the
might be able
stabbing.
to connect with another ambassador at
That
that
doesn't
event.
at that
That's
event.
not going to want to stab me.
That's not going to stab you.
Okay.
Patrick, I needed to discuss your television. I don't know what you saw last night, because he's on the stabbing. Just on the stabbing.
So
You're a liked person, right? So you don't have to worry about being stabbed.
I'm a likable guy.
That's what I'm figuring. But you just seem to
people
be
are crazy.
Well,
There are
people like to
crazy-
stab you,
Yeah,
obviously.
People like to stab people.
Okay, all right.
I
No
just don't-
comment. Next
I just don't
show.
want to be one of them.
Okay.
Okay, so there are events that people can go to
Right.
that other ambassadors would be at.
Yes.
As well as other travelers.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is that something that is put on or managed by you, or is it other events that are happening that you're letting people know about?
Right.
Or how does that work?
It's more, in the future, we might do our own events, but it's other events.
Okay.
For example, coming to Canada, some of the events posted are related to the Pan Am Games, for example.
Okay.
And also women's FIFA soccer as well. So they'll see those kind of events coming through.
Pan Am is huge.
Yes.
So there's a lot of people who are coming in from.
Yeah,
you
a lot of
know-
people who are here right now that are working it that don't live here.
Oh.
So I mean, that would be an ideal situation that they would come, create their travelers profile, say that they're going to be here in town between this and this date, and hopefully connecting with the ambassadors while they're here doing their job, putting Pan Am games on. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
That's actually I didn't even think about that, but yeah, the Pan Am Games is here, and I guess there would be a lot of people who are in the city that don't live here,
Right.
that really don't know very much about the city.
Right.
So I guess if you want to be an ambassador, getting you a headphone. So if you want to be an ambassador to some of these people who are in the city who are who don't normally live here, then you can sign up on the site. You can sign up on the site.
It's not going to fit over my hair.
It's
Okay,
not
go
gonna
ahead.
work? Okay. You can sign up on the site
Yes.
and be able to connect with some of those people.
Right.
Now, what about language barrier?
Yeah. Right now, it's in English, like even the content on the site is an English site. So the assumption is that you at least know that language to make that interaction. But, I mean, technically someone could go and just sign up as long as they know English and, you know, communicate in whichever language is theirs.
Yeah.
Right? But it could be a challenge, but at the same time, it could be an incentive too. I mean, some people, at one point when I was going to Italy, my whole thing was to connect with people who spoke Italian.
Okay.
Just to try and test off which little, I still suck at it, but still to, you know, to test how much I know and to be able to have that conversation. So that could be another avenue. Like I'm open to someone coming from Japan or whatever, because I'm planning to go there in the future.
Is there a translation, like a language translation in terms of interacting through your site?
Not at this point, but I mean, I think that would be something to look into for future.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So for somebody who's signing up on your site, who's what would be, you know, the thing that you would say to them as to why they should?
Why they should.
Yeah.
Definitely. Well, if you're a traveler, this is a way for you to connect with somebody local. Not just, you know, stay in your hotel room and do the job that you're traveling to do, but also to have something to do in your off time, because that's always the time. They're here for a specific purpose, but it's that off time they would like to see the city, their surroundings. So that would be the incentive for you to do that, to make that connection. And as an ambassador, if you're an ambassador for your country, your city specifically, and you're proud of your city, and you want to show it off, and you don't mind entertaining someone who's in only for a temporary time, that's an incentive for some folks.
Something we didn't really talk about, and that is, so there's so many different online sites out there.
Right.
And does it matter to you if people are married, if they're single, if they're, you know, complicated?
Right.
Where do you stand in the midst of that?
Yeah, well, specifically with Let Me Show You My City, we don't have any designation for that to say what's your status, because we're going to leave that up to you. It's a connection site, so I mean, it could be someone coming down. This person's only down here for a temporary time to complete a job anyway, and they're like, I just want someone to show me around so I could, you know, find my way around the city. So it could be very innocent too, right?
Okay.
That person could be a married person, but I mean, it's just looking for somebody to
You're
connect
looking for a
with.
friend.
Looking for a friend,
Okay.
right? So that's why I kind of shy away from calling it an online dating site, just because yes, I'm sure dating might. That could be one of the things that could transpire out of it, but also it's that whole just connection. That's what we're focused on, is just connecting people that would not be able to connect because of, you know, that's from one country, from another country. But, yeah, that's what I think. I can't remember what else to say.
Okay. So it's not focused on single or
No,
gender,
the status,
and,
yes, right, right.
If there was a guy looking for a guy or a girl looking for
No.
a girl, or
No.
you know.
Yeah, right now it's open, pretty much, what you want to connect with.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to thank you for coming on the show, because it's been fun. It's always fun when you're here. There are a lot of people who you know, I'm hoping that get a little bit of an insight into the online dating world, and
Right.
might realize it's not as scary
Right.
as as they may have thought before.
Right.
From my perception, really is that, and you kind of hinted towards it, on doing the whole online thing, is we're already online pretty
Right.
much 24/7 with our phones, work, pretty much everything, and this may be just another tool that somebody could use in order to be able to meet more people, or sort of find what it is that they're looking for.
Right.
That they may not necessarily be able to find somebody on in the grocery store,
Right.
or at a bar or something like that.
Right. Right.
But again, a lot of things that you did talk about in terms of being cautious as to what you do put online, because nothing online ever really goes away.
No, that's the thing that we forget sometimes. Yeah.
The picture of you passed out with different paraphernalia around you or something like that, you might think you took it down, but it's still there. It's still there
Yeah.
online. Nothing ever dies online.
Right.
So
Right.
you got to be conscious in terms of what you do put out.
Definitely.
And based on what you were saying as well, is that when you are creating the profile, you want to spend a little bit of time to think about what it is that you're displaying.
Definitely.
Because what you're displaying really is what the other person has to look at, and that's what's really going to attract them.
Right. Exactly.
I want to thank you for being here
Yeah. No problem.
and sharing a little bit about Let Me Show You My City.
Yes.
If you would like to, get connected with some people from around the world, whether it's Pan Am related or so many other things that's going on within the city, because there's always people coming here from all over the world.
Yeah, we're going to be really busy for the next couple of months. Like, there's a lot
Yeah.
of stuff happening this summer, so.
You
Yeah.
can definitely sign up on her website.
Yep.
What is it? What's the link?
It's letmeshowyoumycity.com.
Okay.
And it would be great to sign up as an ambassador for Toronto. I think that should be the first step. And then eventually, if you feel that you're traveling out, you could you could explore the traveling option of that, and then be exposed to other people from the countries that you're visiting as well.
Are people able to book flights and stuff like that through your
No,
site?
no.
Okay.
But these are all good ideas, Patrick.
I'm just curious.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I want to thank you very much for being here today. It's been an enlightening show. It's been a lot of fun. For those of you who are online who are listening, I want to thank you for joining us this week. Next week, I've got another guest in here, and we're going to be talking a little bit about how the role of women have changed over the past few years. And in the past decades, I should say, a little bit about the feminist movement, what that's done, and a little bit about the rights and freedoms that women have acquired over the past few years, and what impact some of those things has had on families,
Right.
and the makeup of families. And I hope that everybody would tune in next week and listen to the show and be able to share their opinions, whether or not they like what we say about women's roles have changed. And
Why do you look scared? You look frightened.
I'm just a guy. I'm telling you, when a guy starts talking about women's roles, you got to be careful. You might
As
get
long
stabbed.
as you might get stabbed. Here we go. Here we go.
You just never know.
Pat.
But it's going to be a woman who's going to be sharing her opinion,
Right.
Not my opinion.
Okay.
So
You're just playing it safe. Good for you.
Exactly, I'm playing it safe, and just want to make sure that that I can
Doesn't
go
get
home and not get
stabbed.
stabbed.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Thanks everyone for joining us, and have a great weekend.